HVAC Shop Talk is brought to you by Refrigeration Technologies, the very best in HVAC chemicals. Whether you need coil cleaners, thread and gasket sealants, or a way to apply your coil cleaner, and much more, use Refrigeration Technologies. Find out more at refrigetech.com. What we're going to do now is I'm going to run through a few calculations to sort of see what we need to do as far as a business to reach the goals that we're going to set. And after that, we can move on to service call pricing, what they're going to cost, and what we need to make, and what preventive maintenances need to make. So let's get started right now by starting with my home bills. All right, so I'm going to add up a few different home bills, and I'm going to write those down right here. So we have home, car insurance, health insurance, mobile phone, cable and internet, power, groceries, gas, and miscellaneous. So let's go ahead and fill those in based on what I have, and I'm going to be approximate. All right, let me stop the video right here real quick because I need to say this. This is only for my particular situation, so I'm just giving you the layout for what I do in my particular situation, my set of bills, the way I want my business to run that works for me. This is just to give you guys ideas of how you need to figure up what your costs are, what your expenses are going to be, so you know exactly what you need to make. A little while ago, I put a poll on YouTube and asked guys this very question, but I think guys got the idea like I was talking about being sales techs, like go in there and making sure you sell this amount of money. That's not what I'm getting at. I just want people to have an understanding of how much you need to make per call, per day, so your company doesn't go belly up. It doesn't mean you have to do anything unethical. You just need to be aware of what your costs are and what you have to do to be successful. That's all this is. So I hope this sheds some light on that. If you have any follow-up questions, put them in the comments down there because I'm sure there's going to be some because there's so much range in what people pay for their bills, what it's going to cost to run their businesses, what insurances they're going to need. This is just something that applies to my life, to my business, and it's still a work in progress. I thought of a few other things after this video that I wanted to add, but I figured this is a pretty good framework to start with, and we'll build on it in the future. So I just wanted to bust in here and say that before somebody said, hey, wait a second, or something, whatever. But let's get back to the video. Hope you guys enjoy it. Leave a comment after it's done. Like, subscribe, blah, 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 blah. Let's get out of here. Okay, so we have mortgage of $850, and a lot of you guys throughout the country will say, wow, that's low. You must live in a 300 square foot apartment. No, it's actually going to be a 2,000 square foot home, but because I live where I live, the cost is much lower. So you may have a number that's much higher than this, and we may recalculate this based on a much higher number. As far as a car payment, I own a little white van, and then the Tahoe, we paid 2/3 of it up front. We have a small loan for a few months for the rest of it. Car insurance, it's bi-monthly, but I'm splitting that in half to make it a monthly payment. This is all monthly. Health insurance, $800, and I use an approximate number for someone like me or family like me. Phone mobile, $300. Cable and internet, $150. Power, $200 a month. Groceries, $600. I have 4 kids, so that's actually probably a little bit low. Gas, $200, and miscellaneous, $500. So let's add all those up. So we come out to $4,000 of bills each month that you have to cover. And that could fluctuate greatly. If your home was, let's say, $2,000 a month, you see you're above $5,000 then. If it's $3,000 a month, you're above $6,000. And it can make quite a difference right there, guys. But we're going to need to hit that $4,000 mark just to pay for our home stuff. And since I'm a sole proprietor, that's what I'm looking for. I'm a single man company. I have to hit this number to make the basic minimums just for my house, not counting the business or anything else. So over here on this side, we're going to put some business expenses, and then we're going to tally those up too. All right, here's the first ones that I have, and I have monthly written up here. So general liability insurance, I haven't gotten my quote back yet, but I'm going to go ahead and write 1,000 and then put divide by 12 so we can make it monthly. Vehicle, I do want to have a dedicated work vehicle. I don't want to pay a whole lot for it, so it'll probably be a used vehicle. So I'm going to plug in $300 a month for that. For tools, you know you're going to have to replace tools and buy tools every month. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug in another, let's say, $500 for that, just to fix things, or let's say you lose a wrench or something, just little stuff. Plus you're gonna need some big stuff too. You have to keep your combustion analysis tools up to date. You have to make sure that everything's calibrated, and that all takes time, and sometimes you have to send it off. So we're going to use $500. That's kind of an arbitrary number. It could be a lot less certain months, but if you have to replace something like a vacuum pump, it could be double that. Workman's comp, I'm not going to have workman's comp right off the bat, but I am going to plug in my last quote for a ghost policy, which was $1,500, and that is minimal non-coverage basically. And I can't emphasize that enough. That's not really coverage. That's just something you have to satisfy people you're working for. Gas, we'll go ahead and put in $400 a month on gas. Driving to and from service calls takes a whole lot of gas, and typically the vehicles that you use are not very gas friendly. Uniforms. What I'm going to do is I'm going to buy some shirts, probably minimal spending on that, so I'm just going to put $100. Classes and training, I'm going to put $100 again, because I'm not going to go to training every month, and sometimes the training doesn't cost any money at all. So I'll put $100 a month. You might want to raise that up for your company if you're going to do like NCI training and stuff like that. That costs like $1,000. So $1,000 right there is pretty much the budget for the year according to this. So you know what? Let's go ahead and pump that up to $250. Licensing, and this will include privilege licenses, which mean licenses you have to work in certain townships or cities. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my license, which is $130 a year. I'm going to go ahead and just triple that to $400, so it covers any privilege license we need, and that'll be divided by 12. Everything else is monthly except for workman's comp. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to tally these up and see what it comes to a month. We already have $4,000 we have to make. Let's see what else we have to make. And we have $1,792. So that's our basic cost. And something I want to mention here is the gas will go down if you don't have as many service calls. So if I choose to do less as far as service call volume, this number will go down. This number might go down. But everything else, maybe tools as well, but everything else will stay the same. So if you decide to decrease your volume, like I might do less because it's not going to be my primary source of income, it's going to hurt me a little bit because these other numbers are going to stay the same. So I'm going to sacrifice some of the percentages in my profit area. It would behoove me to do as many calls as I think I can handle and calculate for that, which is what we're going to do. So we have a total of $67.92 per month that we have to make. So if we need to make $67.92, we also need to account for how much money we want to make besides that. So we need to make that much per month to cover this number. Now, all right, let's take our number that we got and let's multiply it out by 12. We'll see how much that is in 1 year. And then we'll put down a projection on what we want to earn that year and see what we have to get on each service call to pay for it. So we have 6792. We're going to multiply that by 12. And let me cheat. 81,504. So 81,504. We need to make that much money at least. Now, where we're going to hit a crossroads with my particular company is that I already have a job that makes up my bills, but we're going to calculate this like we need this company to pay for everything. Now, that might not be feasible because I'm not going to be doing 6 calls a day while I'm doing my primary job as well. But we need to come to a balance and see how much of this number can the company take care of. Let's say if we want to make $81,504, but we want to tack on $20,000 to that. We want to earn some money right there. for the company, for whatever. 20,000 is a small number. It's not that big. So let's go to 101,504. Okay. So $101,504. Back when my company was running, it definitely made that much money. In fact, we had years that were around $200,000, and it's just a single man company. And for some people, that might not be a whole lot, but for where I live, that's a decent lifestyle. You got money in your pocket. You can go out and get yourself a car when you need a car. And it worked out really well for me. Now, the first year I was in business, it was $30,000 total. That puts it in perspective. It took a while to get up there. We know 30,000, 50,000, 90,000. Then we got to 200,000, and I was like, "Oh, that's nice. That's nice. We're finally getting to where we need to be." Then everything went to hell in a handbasket, just in general in life. That's unfortunate, but we're back now. We're going to be stronger than ever. So 101,504. Okay, how many calls are we going to do during the year? We're not going to do any change outs, which is probably not going to be true. We're probably going to do some change outs. We're going to take a chunk of that out because change outs are big money. But we're going to see what kind of calls we're going to do. So, how many working days do we have in a year? Well, let's take a look here. If we have 365 days in a year, in fact, let's do it like this. 5 divided by 7 is 0.714. 72% of the week we're working. The other 2 days is the weekend, so to speak, guys. I know sometimes we work on the weekends, but that's typically what we're going to work. 72%. Now let's drop that down to like 65% for holidays and stuff like that. It's probably even lower than that, but we'll do 365 times 0.65. So we have 237, let's say 238. We'll round up. In fact, we'll go all the way up to 240. 240 working days per year. So let's find out how much we need to make on each working day. We're going to divide 240 into 101,504. 101,504 divided by 240. 423. So we're going to go ahead and say $430. We're going to round up. So we need to make $430 a day to pay for all this stuff. That's not very bad. That's not bad. We can do that in service calls. So what if I run 1.5 service calls a day? Some days I run 2, some days I run 1. This business is very young. We're not going to have a lot of service calls. And remember, I'm doing half and half. I'm doing editing, podcasting, and stuff like that the other half of the time. So let's go ahead and say 1.5 calls per day. We'll see what that is. So 430 divided by 1.5 equals $287. $287 a call is what I need to make if I'm doing 1.5 calls per day. All right. What if I'm doing 2 calls per day? That's 215. I can tell from here. 215. These are not unreachable numbers for sure, especially the 215. Even around here where the cost of living is extremely low, people are used to paying less for what they're buying. I think we can probably still handle that. That will probably still do it. Now, the issue is, how much volume will this business have initially? Not a whole lot. We won't be reaching 1.5 calls per day. If we have a change out every now and then, that will definitely help. So let's say that during this time period, we do 10 change outs this year, and we make an average of $2,000 per change out. So if we're doing 15 change outs and we're making $2,000, that's $30,000 off the top right there. So we can take that off. 30,000, we're down to 71,504 right here, because we're taking 30,000 off right there. So we'll bring that down here. 71. This is like the chicken scratch riding championship. $71,504 left in service calls. Now, if we divide that out by not 240 working days, but let's say 220. Let's say our changeouts took 2 days apiece. So let's do 71,504 divided by 220. That equals $325 a day. That brings it down quite a bit. So $325 a day, and we're going to divide that by 1.5. So that's 216. That brings us down closer to the 2 number for 430. So if we're doing 1.5 calls a day at 325, 216, and 325 divided by 2, 162.5. That makes it a whole lot more attainable, and we can actually do a few change outs. We can definitely lower the amount we have to reach on service calls. Otherwise, You really need to reach those numbers if you want to pay for all that stuff. So what does that mean in a month? Let's go ahead and double check our math and make sure that if we do it the way I'm saying, we actually can pay for all our stuff. So if we have 240 working days a year and we're dividing that by 12, that means we're working 20 days a month. Nice round number. So let's take our 1.5 calls at 287, go into 430 a day, and go 430 times 20, 8,600. Now if we go back, that definitely pays for what we need to do here, plus gives us some room. That's sort of what I'm talking about right here, guys. We're just running through these numbers so you can sort of see how this plays out. I hope this helped. It's helping me actually go through this because it's something I didn't take my time with when I first started my business. I didn't really go through this stuff like this and made sure I understand it. But now I feel like I'm understanding it more than ever about what I need to make on every single call. So if you're not averaging those numbers, you're not going to hit the number that you put up there at the beginning. So either you need to lower your projection to where you can actually attain that number, or you have to charge more, or you have to sell more. So selling ethically, I think, will produce probably that number. I think you can make it to any one of those numbers. Even a 287 average should be attainable if you're selling ethically and charging appropriately. So we'll get into that a little bit more, because now that we know what we need to make, we need to figure out what our average service call is going to be. Because there's certain service calls you do 10, 15 times a month, like your run caps and stuff like that, and maybe your contactors, that for a lot of people might fall below the mark. And then your motors and stuff like that, and your compressor changeouts and stuff will fall way above the mark.
And now here are scenes from next week's episode 4.
We got 23 amps coming through here, so we have 5 kW of heat strip. There we are. That's a little bit better.
It's really a question of what y'all want to do with it. So, but that's the big issue right there. It's a substantial issue.